So hello everybody. Today we're going to just take a quick look. This is going to be a relatively short little video. It's kind of a rant of mine. I'm going to be talking about uh, some of the scenery differences, the eye candy between Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and X-Plane 11. So just going to show you a couple airports, one of which that I have flown to and from early. Made a couple videos from uh, the Grand Caymans, NWCR, and the Oral Roberts International. And we're also going to look at KBOS, uh, Logan International Airport in Boston. So with that, let's get in. We'll just have a quick took. I'm going to put this is all my opinion, and I don't expect everybody to agree with me, but I hope you enjoy. We're just doing this for fun and just taking a look at some of the differences between these two exceptionally fine flight simulations. Well, hello everybody, it's Bug Eater 64, and I just wanted to take a moment because so many people have said, how the graphics and everything in Microsoft Flight Simulator are so wonderful. Well, that is true. I thoroughly enjoy flying in Microsoft 2020, but when it comes to airports, too many times Microsoft Flight Sim is very, very lacking. And just to give you a look at one example, this is where my latest flight was out of into Grand Cayman in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Here we are at Grand Cayman. Now this is a add-on scenery for this particular airport, Oral Roberts International. And you can see that, there's you look at the trees, you look at the runway, the markings, you look at the airport itself. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to compare it to the add-on. Like I said, this is an add-on version for uh, X-Plane 11, and it's just beautiful. Let's go ahead and we can go down this way. And you just look at the surroundings at this particular island. Now, what you're this is a parking area. Uh, the fire department here, the tower, and then we've also got the restaurant and bar, basically. And we're going to go down this way a little bit further, and I'm going to show you. I made some adjustments to this uh, a year or so ago because this is one of my locations to fly to in Air America US, my virtual airline. And so I built my business center and aircraft hangar for Air America Due. So, but this island it's just beautiful. I mean, there's the harbor there. These are uh, hot air balloons in the area, but just taking a look at this compared to Microsoft Flight Simulator, uh, and we'll show you that in just a minute here. But this mod for X-Plane is just gorgeous. And runway 8. there we have X-Plane 11, Grand Cayman Island. Oral Roberts Airfield. So let's take a look and see what it looks like. And you may have already seen it from my previous airmo, but we're going to show you what the mod looks like in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Alrighty, so here we are at Grand Cayman once again, but we're in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And as you can see, now this is an add-on mod, and I got to give the people credit because this is very nicely done. And I'm not sure what all they had to work with, but you look at this and we can see the difference between my add-on mod for X-Plane 11 and our mod here. Alrighty, so we got, looks like a 777 coming in. You can see the terminal. There's no, nicely done for what they did, but it's really no match for the add-on. This is all generic. Whoops, all generic buildings back here. But this add-on it's 150% better than the generic that they have for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I can't complain too much, but just comparing the two, when you look at them side by side, there's really no comparison. But you be the judge. So with that, let's go take a look at one more airport before we call it a day. Okay. So here we are in Boston, KBOS, KBOS. And as you can see, nicely done. This is, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, big cities, and you can see the airport parking and everything looked good. There's the city off in the distance here. So, this one being a very big city and a, primary hub looks much better than the generic uh, Grand Cayman. And some of their airports are done very, very nicely. This being one of them. But once again, and this is the generic. I don't believe, this is, no, I'm sorry, this is an update, which I got off of Flight Sim 2, which is also where I got the one for the Grand Cayman update. So, nicely done. Now let's look at KBOS in X-Plane 11. Okay, so here we are in X-Plane 11 at KBOS, and you can see one thing to look at is the jetways and the actual buildings and how they differ from what you see in MSN Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Uh, I like them better. Okay, but again, it's a personal preference. but I like the way that X-Plane has set this up. And again, I will admit this is a modified version. But here's the look at the tower. Here's the city behind. Okay, that's just, it's kind of cool and I like it. So let's take a look at the free camera. And look at the whole thing. Very, very nicely done. All the same runways and so on, but the look of it, to me, I like it better than the version in Microsoft, and I think X-Plane did a very nice thing. Plus, to be honest, it's much easier to make changes, and maybe it's just my experience, but it's much easier to make changes in scenery and airport locations in X-Plane 11 than it is in Microsoft. If you look down, let's go back down here and look at my Dash 8, you can see that this aircraft has my livery on it. I did this livery, and it was very simple to do. That being said, it's much more difficult to change a livery in Microsoft Flight Simulator than it is, again, in X-Plane. A lot of people can do it. I just have not been taught how to do it, and it is just so easy for me to do this livery in X-Plane compared to what it is in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Plus, this is the new version of FlyJSim's Dash 8 Q400. So, but there you have it. That's just two airports showing a little bit difference between Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and X-Plane 11. X-Plane 11, of course, is a much older sim, but one of the great selling points of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, which I thoroughly enjoy to fly in. But once I get up, and I love the eye candy, okay, who doesn't? But once you get up to 10,000 feet or more, what's below you pretty much looks the same. It's when you get to the airports and you get into the cities that it's really important to have that eye candy. And for general aviation, that is awesome. And generally, the eye candy for the towns and cities in Microsoft Flight Simulator is very nice. And they keep updating, they keep working hard to do that. But the airports themselves, that is truly, in my opinion, and grant you, this is all my opinion. I don't expect everybody to agree with me, but this is where Microsoft Flight Simulator really is lacking many, many, many times. So, hope you enjoyed this little short interlude. Well, here we are. We finished our little rant, I guess, but just something to show. You know, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 has a long way to go. It's a young sim, I'll give it that. But it was touted to be this great eye candy, awesome thing. Uh, but it's growing, it's getting better. We're finally going to get, you know, helicopters that act like helicopters, things like that. The eye candy continues to get better. That being said, X-Plane 12 isn't that far off, and X-Plane 12 is doing major work on their appearance. The eye candy is going to be, from what I've seen so far, is going to be probably as good, if not better, than Microsoft Flight Simulator. So again, two very fine simulations, flight simulations that both have good and bad and are both super fun to fly in, especially with the variances of different aircraft. So looking forward to X-Plane 12 and still thoroughly enjoying X-Plane 11 because there's aircraft available there that I fly that aren't available in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And it's the same. There's two aircraft, especially that I fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator, primarily the PMDG DC-6 and the Red Wing L1049 Constellation. They're not available uh, in X-Plane. They were at one time, but there's not, in my mind, there's not a good version of that. So things are getting better in both sims. I hope you enjoyed looking at my opinions on some of the sceneries. And until next time, y'all have fun flying whatever simulation you fly in, because there's a number of them. But always remember, safe flying.